Hey, how's it going, Bible Talk family? Welcome back to Bible Talk with BW, where we read scripture, we observe it, and we apply it to our lives. Today's Thursday, so now we are going to be going through the rest of chapter 19, Genesis 19, and we continue on our journey through the Bible. That being said, let's get right into it. This is Genesis 19, and we left off verse 17. Genesis 19, verse 17. As soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, "Flee for your lives. Don't look back. Don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away." Now, I talked about this in a previous video, but just the importance of fleeing to that mountain where Jesus died on the cross. Mount Calvary. And the mountaintops in the Bible are always where people have a real relationship, a real commitment, a real connection with God. And that's why he always says, flee to the mountaintops, come to the mountaintops, or come to the mountain. He says to Moses, Jesus meets God in the mountaintops, where his disciples saw God and Moses and Elijah. Mountaintops are where we have that closeness with God. But I also want to point out that right after mountaintop moments, that's often where Satan will try to get us. As soon as we have that high moment, when we come down, we saw Moses come down, or as we're gonna see, he comes off and he sees his people pretty much breaking every commandment that God showed him, and he breaks the 10 commandments and goes back up. We see Jesus after he was baptized. It was a high moment. Right afterwards, he was led into the wilderness to be tempted by Satan. And just throughout the Bible, we see stories like that. But God calls us to come to the mountaintops, because that's where we're going to find safety, refuge, and hope in his son Jesus. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away. But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please, your servant has found favor in your eyes. Now you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me and I will die." And okay, this just kills me, because he has seen God literally send angels to pull him out of Sodom. And now he says, wait a minute, those mountains are dangerous. I could die up there. There's some dangerous stuff. There's snakes. There's loose rocks that, he's saying, don't let me go onto the mountain. That's dangerous up there. What if I die up there? It just cracks me up. And this next part, look, here is a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared. Now he's telling these angels, he's telling God, wait a minute. Look, there's a small town right there. Let me flee to that town. And as I mentioned also, God will take us as far as we want to go, but he won't force us to go 1 inch further. And I talked about this in my other video yesterday. And now we see God pull Lot out, tells him to go to the mountain, but Lot has a different idea. And he says, no, let me go to this small town right here. I'm a city slicker, I don't like the country. He said to him, very well, I will grant this request to you. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it. That is why the town was called Zoar. Zoar means small or little, because it was a small town. All right, so we see him. He enters Zoar. By the time Lot reached Zoar, the sun had risen over the land. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, destroying all those living in the cities and also the vegetation in the land. So where this is, today, this is the Dead Sea. So that's the area of the Dead Sea. And I've been to the Dead Sea, and I tell you, nothing grows there. It is barren. The vegetation in the land is no more, which is interesting because remember, Lot chose that land because of how green the pastures looked previously. And so it was a place that was green and growing and lively and had these so-called great cities that weren't great. They were just full of evilness and corruption. But now we see that God completely wiped it out in the vegetation. A side note, the Dead Sea is super fun to swim in. You can't sink because there's so much salt in the water. It's a whole lot of fun. We covered ourselves with mud and another, it was a great time. But yeah, not a lot grows there. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. It was like an atom bomb just went off. So when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham, and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. Lot and his Lot and his two daughters left Zoar and settled in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. No kidding. See, this is just like me, just like how people can be. Man, Lot was taken out. God told him to go to the mountains. He said, no, let me go to this small city. He went to the city. He saw what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. No doubt, now he was afraid that, oh man, God's going to wipe out this place too, because he probably saw that this little city was not very much better than Sodom and Gomorrah was. And that can be our tendency. God will set us free from a certain type of sin, and rather than cling to the cross and continue in the right direction, which is going to the mountain where Jesus died, we tend to gravitate towards the next worldly thing that might not be as bad as the thing we're doing. And man, we're going to see what happens right here. Lot and his two daughters left Zoar and settled in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. Yep, I would be too after seeing that. And his two daughters lived in a cave. So he went from Sodom to a small city. Now he's living in a cave. And I don't know if I talked about this in my previous video or if I just thought about it in my own head when I was doing studying, but this is the cave of depression. I wrote down a cool note here. So depression distorts reality. And we're going to see one day the older daughter said to the younger, our father is old and there is no man around here to give us children. Let us children as is the custom all over the earth. So the reality, because they were in this cave, was distorted. They thought, man, he's the last guy on earth. We don't have children. We need to produce. We need to take things into our own hands. We need to preserve our family line. And just bad things happen when you're in a cave of depression. Depression causes just bad decisions all around. Bad decisions lead to problems down the line, which we're going to see. One day the older daughter said to the younger, our father is old, and there is no man around here to give us children, as is the custom all over the earth. Let's get our father to drink wine, and then sleep with him, and preserve our family line through our father. So, like I said, their reality was distorted because their father, no doubt, probably warned his daughters that, hey, the earth is being destroyed. We're the only righteous people left. Let's hide in this cave lest we die. And this just came to my mind, but there's a lot of theories right now that parents can be putting on their children. There's a lot of weird thinking in our culture right now today that is causing children to either step away from the church, step away from the Bible, step away from this side or that side. It's causing a division because of these teachings, these thinkings, these negative effects of talking bad about another party. Maybe it's Democrats about Republicans, Republicans about Democrats, mask wearers about people who don't wear a mask, people who don't wear a mask about people who do wear a mask, about getting a shot or not getting a shot, about, there's all kinds of things right now, which parents, I really want to caution you and myself that our children are watching us, how we act, how we respond to situations, how we talk about other people is going to be impressed on our children. And we see Lot's daughters are corrupt because of what they've seen, what Lot has showed them and taught them. And we're going to see what happens. It says, let's get our father to drink wine. Okay, drinking wine in the cave of depression is never a wise thing to do. Let's get our father to drink wine and then sleep with him and preserve our family line through our father. That night, they got their father to drink wine, and the elder daughter went in and slept with him. He was not aware of it when she lied down and when she got up. The next day, the older daughter said to the younger, last night I slept with my father. Let's get him drunk with wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him so we can preserve our family line through our father. So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went in and slept with him. Again, he was not aware of it when she lied down or when she got up. You would think that he would learn his lesson from the first night, but I guess not. Maybe it was really strong wine, because you would think that he would be really sick and realize that, hey, maybe I shouldn't drink so much. But like I said, depression distorts reality, and I've seen people in this place, and I've experienced being in this place myself. It's a terrible place to be, and it's a really bad feeling when you feel like the world around you is destroyed, when there's no hope, when and you just want to stay in a cave. And in that time, that's when decisions are made that have a long effect on our lives. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. So he is the father of the Moabites of today. The Moabites, we're going to see, are going to cause Israel a whole lot of problems throughout the Bible. The younger daughter also had a son. She named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Ammonites of today, which both the Moabites and the Ammonites are constantly at war with the Israelites, as we're going to see throughout the Bible. I love chapter 19. If you guys missed the first part of chapter 19, I would suggest either reading it on your own or listening to the video, because there's so much in this chapter that we can learn from. It's such a beautiful picture of, God is going to protect his children, in which I'm going to go off on another rabbit trail here, but how is God is so amazing to me. Lot is considered righteous, and In 2 Peter 2:7, it talks about him being righteous because of his simple faith that he believed in God. He was considered righteous, which gives me a lot of hope for a lot of people. Because man, I often worry about, friends or family or this person or that person. But man, simple faith. God is so faithful. He's so much better than I think people give him credit for. And Lot was counted as righteous, and he was the same guy who was ready to give his daughters over to the angry mob. He's the same guy who said, I don't want to go to the mountaintop, let me go to this small city. He's the same guy who took his kids to a cave, got drunk, and let his daughters sleep with him. And this guy was counted as righteous because of his belief in God. The Bible makes it real clear. For God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And we see this played out in this story. And we also see that God will protect those he counts as righteous from his wrath, which I'm so grateful for, because everybody deserves God's wrath. But through the blood of Jesus, we don't have to go through that wrath. We get to be counted as righteous just like Lot is. I don't remember what I was talking about before I got off on this little tangent, but man, this is a beautiful chapter. I'm excited to continue on, and I hope you guys have a great night, and thanks for listening.